We have been discussing our time, our talent, and our treasure. These three are one, because they make up our stewardship of our time. What are we doing with the hours, the days, the minutes that God has given to us? The Bible tells us that He records them in a book. He knows your days, your hours. He knows how long you have, and He knows what time He has given you to serve Him. So when you get to heaven and say, I didn't have time, He will show you. He will show you the time you did have, if He was important to you. And then the talent, and you'll say, but I didn't have any talent. There is nothing I could do for God. And He'll say, let me show you what I gave you as a talent and you didn't use. And finally, He will turn and say, our monies, our treasures, where your treasure is, that's where your heart's at. He reminds us of that often. And when we say, I couldn't afford it, He'll say, oh, you could have. You could have. And He'll show us all the trips to Starbucks. We could have drank McDonald's instead. He'll show us. I remember my mother when I was young. I was in the 4th grade. And most of my family, of course, all being relatively close in age, when she would go to the school, she would visit John's teacher, and John's teacher would say this about him. And then she'd go visit Charlie's teacher, and Charlie's teacher would have this report about him. And I remember when she got to my teacher, it was raining that particular day. And my mother has never driven a day in her life. She always walks everywhere. And so when she walks into my classroom, Mrs. Lewis happened to be my 4th grade teacher. And when my mama walked in, Mrs. Lewis recognized her as being my mama. And she said, you know what? I've only got good things to say about him. Why don't you let me drive you home? So, when I get to heaven, I want to hear, well done, thou good and faithful servant. That's our goal.